Good evening and many thanks for joining us. You're watching QTV Nigeria News coming to you from our studios on Kairaba Avenue, and I am Ansumana Esonyansi. Here are the main news headlines. The Gambia's former ambassador to South Africa, Sidi Momodu Let, has been found dead in Soweto in South Africa. The Ministry of Health and partners have issued statements warning the public about widespread dust as a result of the Harmattan season. Agreements at the COP28 allegedly signaled the beginning of the end of the fossil fuel era, leading to an equitable transitioning. And the Ministry of Tourism and Culture, through the National Center for Arts and Culture, disbursed $410,000 to various cultural groups and festival organizing committees across the country. And in international news, Isabel dos Santos, often described as Africa's richest woman, has lost a UK High Court battle to prevent the freezing of her assets. Well, stay tuned as we bring you more on these and other stories. And we begin tonight's bulletin with some sad news. The Gambia's former ambassador in South Africa, Sidi Momodu Let, has been found dead in Soweto. He had been reported missing on Tuesday, and on Thursday his body was found in a suburb of Soweto, according to reports. Momodu Mboj has the rest of that story.
Reports indicate that there were bloodstains on his clothes and that he appeared to have been hit by an object in a Soweto neighborhood blighted by crime. Sidi Momodu Let had lived in South Africa for more than 30 years as a successful businessman, consultant, and a politically prominent person in the country who had headed many organizations, according to his brother, Mr. Omar Let, the veteran administrator, formerly with the UN and currently with the philanthropic Key Group Foundation, who spoke to QTV. He said the family was in shock and dismay over the death of his brother, who only 8 weeks ago was in the country on a visit which turned out to have been his last when the family last saw him. Here is Mr. Omar Let telling us how the family got news of his brother's death.
We don't know exactly what happened, but we got news from the wife to say that he left the house to attend a meeting and never showed up until very late at night. And wife tried to find out, no answer. Sent a text message and a reply saying, "I'm okay," but knowing that husband doesn't send such short replies, he knew there was something wrong.
As Mr. said there, information on the circumstances of his brother's death is scant, but the Let family has been receiving communications and support from the Gambian embassy authorities and the wider Gambian community in South Africa. Born in Banjul in 1953, Sidi Momodu Let was highly instrumental in the establishment of a Gambian consulate in South Africa and had become its first consul, consul general, and finally ambassador. He studied journalism and photography and had lived in Washington in the US for more than 20 years. Here's Omar Let again on his brother.
He was quite dynamic, very interesting, very outgoing, very eloquent.
Sidi Momodu Let was an accomplished and enterprising man who had brought numerous businesses to his country of birth. Omar Let once more.
Well, his wish has always been do something for the Gambia, do something for Senegal. He's orchestrated very many projects.
Sidi Momodu Let died in suspicious circumstances, but his brother Omar Let says he was a brave, courageous man who was not scared to stand up for himself. The funeral arrangements are on the way. Mr. Let tells us more here.
We expect to receive him by a special flight tomorrow at about 2:40 in the afternoon. So burial would be on Sunday. We we'll have the ritual prayers at Pipeline Mosque at 10 o'clock, and then bury him in Bakau, inshallah.
May his soul rest in peace. For QTV News, I am Murumbuch.
Well, our prayers and thoughts are with his family during these difficult times. The Ministry of Health and the Permian Health Lung Institute have issued statements warning the public about widespread dust as a result of the Harmattan season. Jennifer Sonko looks into the alert.
The Permian Health Lung Institute Gambia revealed this week that air quality sensors in Brikama, Bakote, Gunjur, Tanje, Brusubi, Bijilo and Kanifing are reporting air quality levels that exceeded 200 on the air quality index, indicating very unhealthy air. The AQI is a yardstick that runs from 0 to 500. The higher the AQI value, the greater the level of air pollution and the greater the health concern. For example, an AQI value of 50 or below represents good quality air, while an AQI value over 300 represents hazardous air quality. These readings fall into the highest category, the purple zone, which poses severe risk to the general public. The Ministry of Health, meanwhile, discourages prolonged exposure to dust as it can lead to chronic breathing and lung problems. The finer particles of the airborne dust may penetrate the lower respiratory tract and enter the bloodstream, where they can affect all internal organs and be responsible for cardiovascular disorders such as stroke, the Health Ministry statement highlighted. The public is therefore advised to stay indoors as much as possible, while those who would like to go outside their homes are urged to wear masks and glasses. Persons with asthma or COPD are advised to ensure an adequate supply of inhalers. Any signs of exacerbation, such as increased coughing, chest tightness or wheezing, should be taken seriously and immediate medical attention should be sought to manage these flare-ups promptly. Motorists are also advised to be more cautious to avoid road traffic accidents. Harmattan is a cool, dry wind that blows from the northeast or east in the Western Sahara and is the strongest from the late November to mid-March. It usually carries large amounts of dust, which can transport hundreds of miles out over the Atlantic Ocean. Reporting for QTV News, I am Jennifer Sonko.
Now, agreements at the COP28 allegedly signaled the beginning of the end of the fossil fuel era, leading to an equitable transitioning. QTV's Jennifer Sonko engages various stakeholders on the outcomes of the conference on the special report.
200 parties consisting of countries, territories and institutions converged in Dubai and came up with a decision to speed up climate action with the aim to keep the global temperature limit of 1.5 degrees Celsius within reach. Nearly every country in the world has agreed to transition away from fossil fuels. The global stocktake at the COP28 recognizes the science that indicates global greenhouse gas emissions need to be cut 43% by 2030, but parties are off track when it comes to meeting their Paris Agreement goals. The Gambia government has an ambitious nationally determined contribution and has captured climate change-related matters in its National Development Plan 2018-2021 and its Recovery-Focused National Development Plan 2023-2027. The United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change focal point in the Gambia, Modu Cham, reflects on the COP28 outcomes.
And now, for the first time, in 20 years, the world leaders, everybody agreed on, transitioning to a net zero world, that is, carbon neutral world by 2050. That is a great champion as far as the world leaders are concerned, and that is been, made as far as COP28 is concerned.
Over $792 million has been pledged to help vulnerable nations recover from climate-related disasters. Major international financial institutions and countries made new commitments to offer climate-resilient debt clauses in their lending. Here is the Gambia's Minister of Environment and Climate Change, Rohit John Manjang.
But the global stocktake has also revealed that Africa as a country, or most African countries, have spent most of their resources on adaptations. And this is not fair. We are not the cause of the climate change. Our emission rate in terms of the percentage is less than 5%. Gambia, in example, is just 0.01%. But why should we spend our natural resource that was supposed to be on education, that was supposed to be on our infrastructure, that was supposed to be on our health, is forcefully being spent to mitigate issues of the climate change? We are saying that is not just.
The Association of Non-Governmental Organizations, Tango, today, Wednesday, held a post-COP28 consultation on the role of civil society in addressing climate change. The consultation brought together stakeholders from mainly civil society and government. Here is the chairperson of Tango, Yadikonjai Ibribo.
As CSOs, we play a crucial role in ensuring that addressing climate change is everybody's business, everybody's responsibility. It's not only government or international development partners, but us, the civil society members.
Malang Sambo is the chairperson of Mbolo Association. Mbolo Association is a non-governmental organization that promotes solar energy to strengthen communities to implement different adaptation strategies. Sambo reflects on his attendance of the COP28.
So that's why it's really very important that we look at good capacity building, technology transfer, renewable energy deployment to our land, and then strong institutions, which we will be able to make sure that we move from advocacy to action.
Now, what is the way forward after the Gambia's participation in the COP28's two-week negotiations and networking? Babuka Zaidi Jallo, the Deputy Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Environment and Climate Change, highlights.
Looking eagerly towards one of the things that was requested mainly was training, capacity building of youths on negotiations, because it's not, you don't just go into the room and expect to know how to do it. So that's one thing that we'll be working on at our level to see how we can support not just youths but those who are interested. Also in terms of implementation, now we'll start to familiarize ourselves with the loss and damage fund. When can we access it? How can we access it?
The COP28 is described by participants as one of the best COPs, with Gambia securing a pavilion for the first time to the increased participation of young people. Minister Manjang applauds the entire Gambian delegation.
The president and also the vice president for stepping in for the president. He has represented the Gambia exceptionally well. But that is what we expect from him, and that is what he can do most. So definitely we are happy for all the ministers that also attended. The Minister of Foreign Affairs was there, and other Minister of Fisheries was there, and of course our embassy in Dubai. They did well to make sure that at least they give us a comfort zone and settle down with us and help us all through up to the end. They were there to provide all the service that we need, and I thank all the team that participated, and I ask that we put all hopes on so that we can have another pavilion come next in Azerbaijan.
Next year's Climate Change Summit COP29 will be held in Azerbaijan. Over 200 countries and territories will convene again to share successes on transitioning and challenges to fulfilling this ambition. Reporting for QTV News, I am Jenna Basonko.
And we'll now take a break, but we will be back with more news right after.
It's already the festive season at Betimat. End the year in style with our exceptional offers. From December 20th to 23rd, we are having a flash sale. Take advantage of discounts up to 30% off on tiles and sanitary. Hurry up and head over to Betimat. Betimat, welcome home.
The Birth Registration Unit under the Ministry of Health is pleased to inform the public that routine birth registration services have resumed across the Gambia. Following the successful introduction of the new electronic civil registration of births and issuance of National Health Insurance Card in 2022, the Ministry of Health will be issuing birth certificates at designated health facilities across the Gambia. All eligible Gambians, especially parents of eligible children, are encouraged to walk into health facilities to obtain a birth certificate for themselves and their children. To be eligible for a birth certificate, you must meet at least one of the following requirements: be born in the Gambia to one or both Gambian parents, be born in the Gambia to parents who are non-Gambians, be born in the Gambia to parents who are refugees resident in the Gambia, be born outside the Gambia to one or both Gambian parents. Those who wish to obtain a birth certificate need at least one of the following documents: infant welfare card, antenatal card for newborn, Alcalos attestation endorsed by district chief or mayor, old birth certificate elongated. At least one of the following supporting documents from one or both parents will also be required: birth certificate, Gambian national identity card, infant welfare card, passport, death certificate, residential permit or non-Gambian identity card, refugee ID card. The Ministry of Health and partners wish to remind all Gambians that birth registration is a fundamental right of every child. Therefore, all parents and guardians are strongly encouraged to obtain a birth certificate for their children. Remember, birth registration for children under 5 years of age is free.
Kamala Beach Resort Oceanfront presents the grand spectacular mega explosive New Year's Eve upmarket gala dinner with a difference, with the Cora Prince, Africa's rising star, the melodic voice of Manding, Sidiki Jabati, taking the nation by storm, and the soulful voice of the nation's bride, Barhama Jama, an unforgettable night, the fireworks display, tables, gold, $50,000 C, platinum, $65,000 C, time 8 p.m. onwards. For reservations, call 594-7777. Proudly sponsored by QCell, Sunu Boss. Happy New Year to you all.
Welcome back. Following the break, be reminded you're watching QTV United News coming to you from our studios on Caraba Avenue. Now, the Ministry of Tourism and Culture, through the National Center for Arts and Culture, disbursed $410,000 to various cultural groups and festival organizing committees in Banjul and across the country. Alusise reports.
This financial support is to help preserve and promote the traditions and culture of communities among the young generation. It is also a unique occasion that helps remind the old about their tradition and culture, as it is often said, culture and tradition define who a person is. The allocations range from $15,000, $20,000, and $25,000. Presiding over the event, Hamad Nkeba, the Gambia's Minister for Tourism and Culture, said President Barrow is committed to fulfilling all his electoral promises, one of which is to transform Banjul into a modern cultural city and to empower and promote culture across the country. Although Banjul belongs to all as the capital city of the Gambia, the Tourism and Culture Minister encouraged Banjulians in particular to take ownership for what belongs to them for the advancement and improvement of the city. He assigned the National Center for Arts and Culture to work with the Banjul City Council and the elders of Banjul to compile a culture information directory of Banjul that can be given to visitors.
We need to have the information in Banjul in a book when you have a guest you present to as a gift. We need to have that. We have the men and women with the knowledge and experience who can narrate things. Those who have witnessed it, who have inherited it. And what Banjul went through is high time is documented. With all the pictures, this is our city. They are the indigents, but Banjul is for all people, Gambians. So that when you have a guest that comes to visit you, you present that book to him as a present. When I travel, people give me books of their cities.
Ibrahim Jawo, the newly appointed administrative coordinator for Banjul region, describes Banjul as a cultural hub for many years and is hopeful the funds will help to organize better events this year.
I have no doubt that the funds that are disbursed today would be utilized effectively for the management of such festivals and making sure that it grows from strength to strength. In Banjul, we're planning to organize or bring back the Regatta in Banjul, bring back Fanal competition, the Ndaurabin. These are part of our cultural heritage. And this will go a long way in our strive trying to make Banjul a cultural city.
Alu Jabi, assistant spokesperson of the Nyanikai Cultural Association in the Central River region, expressed gratitude to the ministry for the considerate support toward their upcoming festival slated for 30th and 31st December.
It will impact on a lot of things in the society. Basically, for the festival, it will help us in raising so many things, like hosting our guests, sponsoring some of our, take caring of some of our things. And out of the fund too, we are expecting to to get more funds, and at least with some of the funds, we will develop some things in our community.
The minister also received from Car Powership $500,000 towards the bicentennial celebration of Janjambure, slated from the 4th to the 7th January 2024. He welcomed the gesture and called for more support from private and public institutions and companies. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cisse.
Now, the Amir Al Karama Society organized its second edition of the Amir Book Awards ceremony on Thursday at its premises in Kotu. As QTV's Lolly Camera reports, 7 schools participated and each went home with a cash prize.
The competition, organized for the second time, brought together 7 schools in the Greater Banjul area, and they include Darul Al-Karam, Umar Islamic School, Scan 8 Brufut, Yundum Baras, and Ibn Zakaria. According to Abisatu Jabi, head of the awards organizing committee, $42,000 was distributed among the 7 schools. The leader of Al-Karama Society, Amir Yahya Silla, explains the motive behind such an initiative.
As you know, 90% of our learning materials is coming from overseas. We felt there is a need to encourage our children to read Gambian and to research Gambia's culture. You cannot build a nation without first building the confidence of its citizen. It will be entirely impossible to build the confidence of the citizen if they don't understand who they are. We need to know our culture. We need to know our influential people. We need to read the knowledge that we produce from locally.
Amir Yahya Silla further points out that the award is a way of motivating the young ones to endeavor more in reading and understanding the books produced by Gambian authors. He says they have plans to roll out this initiative to other parts of the country.
We plan to roll this out to all the regions in the Gambia, from here to West Coast, from West Coast to LRR, to URR, CRR, all the region. Our target is 5 years, but it may go beyond 5 years because we have already seen the benefit of our campaign. Those who never used to read in the past, through our campaign now, they have the courage, they have the stamina, they have the reason to read.
Michael Amadi Seka, a retired civil servant who was invited as a special guest to the event, shared his impressions with us.
Let them read. Well, most people do not have this opportunity. So you are giving books free, and then you are also giving incentives when you read the book. So it's not only a matter of looking at the book, but it's a matter of reading the book. For Yaya, I think it's high time even the government thought of seeing how best they can work with him. But this, he's trying to improve both numeracy and literacy. But he asks questions on mathematics and questions on English.
Ajaratu M. Sane, a student of Yundum Barracks, commented after participating in the competition.
This is the first time ever I'm participating in a competition like this, and today I learned so many things and I met many friends, yeah. My favorite book there is Danjo and Why Do Good People Suffer. I didn't read the book, Why Do Good People Suffer, but the moment I saw the title, definitely I know what it's talking about. Yeah, and the advice that I have for young people out there is that even though you don't go to school, at least you sit with people that are educated for them to teach you some moral lessons.
Under the leadership of Amir Yahya Silla, the Al-Karama Society started a 5-year campaign last year to promote reading and research in the Gambia. Some of the books published so far by Gambian authors include The Plight of Women in Rural Gambia, Danjo, A Miracle Child, and Why Do Good People Suffer? For QTV News, Lolly M. Camara.
And a report there by Lolly M. Camara will lead us to the international news in a moment. Now, Isabel dos Santos, often described as the richest woman in Africa, or Africa's richest woman, has lost a UK High Court battle to prevent the freezing of her assets. Lena Igwenyiba tells us more.
Isabel dos Santos, daughter of former Angolan President José Eduardo dos Santos, is entangled in a legal dispute with telecoms giant Unitel. The company is pursuing damages of $733 million linked to financial decisions made by Ms. Dos Santos during her tenure as a director at Unitel. Dos Santos contends that the case is a political vendetta. Unitel, the Angolan telecoms operator, initiated the legal action, seeking a global freezing order over Dos Santos' assets. The judge, Robert Bright, granted the order and mandated Dos Santos to disclose her assets by next month, which include properties in London, Monaco, and Dubai. Unitel's lawsuit stems from the loans extended to the Dutch company Unitel International Holdings, UIH, in 2012 and 2013. Dos Santos, serving as a Unitel director at the time, faces claims that she failed to repay the loans, leaving approximately €300 million outstanding. Unitel, which added Dos Santos to the lawsuit in May, rejects any involvement in an alleged asset seizure and accuses her of attempting to turn the legal battle into a public relations war against Angola's current leader, João Lourenço. Despite Dos Santos' assertions that her assets have been frozen or seized elsewhere, Unitel say they remain steadfast in their pursuit of legal action, denying any responsibility for UIH's failure to repay the loans. This case is the latest in a long line of legal wars for Dos Santos, which started after her father stepped down as president in 2017 after 38 years in office. Reporting for QTV News, I am Lena E. Igwenyiba.
And I'm afraid that's all about it for this bulletin. But before we take a leave of you, here's a recap for main headlines. The Gambia's former ambassador in South Africa, Sidi Mamadou, has been found dead in Soweto in South Africa. The Ministry of Health and the partners have issued statements warning the public about widespread dust as a result of the Harmattan season. Agreements at the COP28 allegedly signaled the beginning of the end of the fossil fuel era, leading to unequitable transitioning. The Ministry of Tourism and Culture, through the National Center for Arts and Culture, disbursed $410,000 to various cultural groups and the festival organizing committees across the country. And in international news, Isabel dos Santos, often described as Africa's richest woman, has lost a UK High Court battle to prevent the freezing of her assets. That's all for this bulletin. Join us tomorrow, same time, for more news. Until then, on behalf of the entire production team, thanks for watching.